Yes.
Thank you. I think the only way you can make these adaptation funds work is to make the mechanism of releasing these funds very simple. That's all. Because the funds are there, but you can't access them. So if we need to make them work, then we must also make the the release of these funds very, very simple to women. Let women, rural women, urban women be able to access these funds without, very difficult conditionalities.
Can I just say that the adaptation fund was set up in 2002, not a single dollar has yet been...
Yes, I've already mentioned. Yeah, I mentioned that some of these funds sometimes are managed through the Global Environmental Facility. And in fact, the adaptation fund set up 2 years ago, Africa requested the African Development Bank to manage this fund. And so up till now, African Development Bank, has refused to manage the fund. That is why the fund is sitting.
Yeah, merci beaucoup. Thank you so much. I would like to say that I agree absolutely about what have been said this morning around this table. And, but knowing and recognizing the failure of many of our promotion of women in our countries, in Africa in particular, because we are working in this field since decades, but still there is some room to improve. Now this is an occasion, the national adaptation plans are an occasion to scale up what is going on gender in general. So can we organize that for Copenhagen? It's a proposal. How can we be around the ministers of environment? We have few in Africa, but also in Asia. We have some women that are minister of environment, or some minister women that who will be at the Copenhagen conference. How can we organize ourselves to be around those women, to empower them, to make sure that they will succeed in what we are talking about that? I think it is an issue of coordination also. If at the national level, we manage that the minister, a powerful women minister of environment can bring this issue and impose to the other actors, and who will go in Copenhagen, the issue of gender and women empowerment. This is one thing we will have to make sure. Okay. The second thing is, how can we coordinate amongst themselves? Madam Minister talked about the African fund that is needed and asked. How can we work with you and the others? The Minister of Namibia is there. Those ministers also can be a part. But you have also all the NGOs, the women working in Africa and for Africa. They can be also with you and make sure that this is really penciled in Copenhagen. And you will have a result in Copenhagen. Not only a rhetoric, not only a theory, because there is 40 years that we are working on theory. And empowering our policy on women affairs, and it also depends on what we will achieve in Copenhagen. Thank you.
Yes, but I think there's a very important observation that we need to get here.
How we organize ourselves? We want to know what.
Okay. Apparently there is a setup already in place, isn't there?
Yeah, yes. I agree with you that we need to network between women ministers responsible for environment. I hope we are aware that in Africa there is an African women network for environment because there are many women now. The number of women ministers responsible for environment is increasing. For example, in the SADC region, I think I can talk about 6 countries which are having women ministers responsible for environment. And in May, when there was a meeting in Nairobi, the network also met. And you remember, those of you who were in Germany, the Women Network has emphasized on the point of integrating women issues in the negotiation. And we even went around and asked that every delegation that is making a statement, you have to emphasize that the negotiation must be engendered so that women issues are reflected in the negotiation. So it's just the information so that whatever can be done by NGO, they can link up with that network of women ministers responsible for environment.
I think that's a very important step. I would strongly urge that this network of women's ministers connect with the ministries for finance, the ministries for power, because you must have a dialogue about to increase the demand side. What we've heard from Michael and others is that the financing is there very often. Where there is a disconnect is between the availability of finance and the paucity of project proposals. And we have to take some responsibility for that. We have people who come to us all the time and say, financing isn't a problem for us, but show me a project. You need to work with the women's organizations, with the chambers of commerce to make sure that women know how to put in project proposals so that they can get access for financing for simple things like agricultural practices. We'll need to improve agricultural practices in the wake of climate change. We'll need to make sure that there's improved access to water and sanitation. Very simple projects now need to be entering into the delivery pipeline. And frankly, there has been a failure on the parts of people who have just been asking for money but not been focusing on the demand side delivery.
Thank you very much. Wonderful. Thank you all very, very much for coming in. I hope that you take some of the energy that we found in this room over the last 90 minutes, take it with you and do something really constructive with it towards mitigating climate change and the empowerment of women. Thank you all very much.